Welcome back at 9:22. We're visiting with Pastor Kermit Culver about spirituality versus religion, and of course, you brought up a good point earlier when you said, you know, you can worship anywhere, but do you? And
Right.
I think what happens is I think often people start out searching, but then they get kind of lazy, spiritually lazy.
Yeah, I think lazy is a good word. I mean, I just think we as a culture have become sort of self-serving. We want the Burger King ad. We want it our way, right away, any way we want it, you know, and we've sort of adapted that or placed that on our religious experience as well. So
I'm going to play the devil's advocate a little bit here, and you have to have heard this in your office there at Legacy. I'm just not getting fulfilled. I'm not getting what I think I should be from this congregation or this church. So you know, I'm going to go. I'm going to go see what I can find out on my own.
Well, it's kind of like I told this to a woman who came in my office and said, I'm leaving because I'm not being fed and I'm going someplace else. And she said, this church is full of a bunch of hypocrites and whatever. And I just said, well, what better place for hypocrites to be, number one, than in church? And I said,
good point.
Good luck finding the perfect church.
Right,
because once you show up,
people.
well, you know, they're human beings. We're human beings.
Right.
And
yeah, and the religion I grew up in, you always heard the term, well, the church is perfect, the gospel is perfect, the people are not perfect.
But you went off on, if you don't mind me talking about you went off on a spiritual journey when you reached adulthood too, where you were trying to
when I
find
reached
something.
adulthood.
Right. Now let me ask you though, did that, as long as you are being honest with yourself about what you're really doing, is it because you don't want to get up on Sunday morning, or is it because you're truly searching?
And you've got to relate to this too. It depends on your motivation.
Exactly.
If you just don't want, if you just want to plant your butt on the couch and watch football every Sunday morning, that was not me.
Right.
I knew I had to find something because I needed a spiritual practice.
I think that's great, and I think it's all about your intention and your focus. The focus is not on ourselves. I said this in my sermon yesterday. I was talking about giving as one of the DNAs of our spiritual inheritance from God. Is that we don't give to get, we get to give, and it's all about your focus and your intention. If your focus and intention is bettering your life and connecting with God as you perceive who God is. If that's an honest search, I love that word, Monica. If it's an honest search, you're going to find your way to truth and to a better life.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, let me ask you this. Okay, so you're talking about finding your way. Is that God helping you to find your way in your view?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is this trend going to continue? We have more than 30% of Americans considering themselves spiritual but not religious. Is it going to get higher?
I think it's going to get higher. I have often asked, what's it going to take for this to change? I'm asked by people, what's it going to take for our country to sort of get back to its more traditional spiritual roots? And my standard answer is a crisis. Think about what happened at 9/11. We just celebrated that anniversary a few weeks ago. That was a course-correcting crisis in our country. And I think if that happens again, or when that happens again, and I'm not predicting a terrorist thing, I'm just saying whatever it might be, a natural disaster or some thing, I think those are the times in our life when we sort of revert back to, when you don't know what else to do what you know. We revert back to what we know to be the truth, and we hang on to that a little bit differently. So
during a crisis, people run to their church.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about this? Could the fact that this could be, as you assert, and I would agree with you, that it will keep growing, this could be a great chance for traditional churches to reevaluate what the message they're sending.
I mean, I think you said it a little bit earlier that was spot on, Kevin, is that the message doesn't change, and God's perfect, and we're human beings, and we're not going to get it all on this side of our existence. We're not going to figure it all out. But I think it does, that the medium needs to change all the time. All right. And so being conscious of the fact that there are people on this spiritual search, and you know, we don't try to be all things to all people. That just never works. But we try to make the unchanging message palatable to people that are on an honest and legitimate search.
All right, well, this is a huge topic. We can talk about this for hours.
We tend to do this a lot.
All right, well, anyway, thank you so much for being here today. When we come back on North Dakota Today, Chef Tony will be in the kitchen whipping up some homemade vanilla extract. You don't want to miss it.
Tired of waiting in line for your prescriptions?